Hello, welcome back to Billy Ho Sports. We know Saturday's preview day for Stephen Foster at Churchill Downs. I've already released the two separate videos on the stakes races, 3 turf, 3 dirt. Easy to follow that way. Well, today we're doing the pick five, races 7 through 11. We're also going to spin the wheel for the split the pot. I apologize for the delay on the video coming out. I just kind of been busy this week, but Saturday's blame stakes will be the split the pot bet, so the winner can contact me and we'll have time to get something together. The previews for the two stakes races are out, so we're looking forward actually to June 6th and 7th, which is a huge weekend at Saratoga hosting the Belmont Stakes. I think we should do multiple split the pot contests for that. So to be eligible for the contest, you subscribe to the channel first and foremost. Click that like button while you're at it. In the comments section, use the hashtag BHS to help promote the channel. Very much appreciated. Give me your single for the late pick five today, and we'll move on into race number 7, which is the Ottoman Stakes. And let's take a look at past performances. So the first up is going to be race number 7, the Audubon. And that is a 1.125 on the turf for 3-year-olds. And Tomasello is a pretty nice horse from Mark Cassidy barn. Jose Ortiz up. You can't beat that. He is improving. I just don't think I'm going to get him on the ticket. You got to start taking some stands. Discreet Dancer, I feel the same way about. He lost by a nose to the aforementioned horse. Because when you got horses in here like Scipio, which is Richard Baltas trained, Luis Saez is riding. I mean, we know how it's the Louis Flavian show, or Jose Flavian show. I don't know. Between those three jockeys, I mean, it's almost like one of the three is going to win every race. But anyway, this one drops in class. The American Turf was a really tough race for him, but he was in the mix, just outrun by better horses. I think that that kind of race would probably put him up in the top 2 or 3. He's a must use, in my opinion. He's just too good of a horse to pass on. So Scipio's on the list. Messero was pretty close. Del Romans. This one ran up against Owen Almighty and East Avenue and some of those as a juvenile on the dirt, but then made the move over to turf for the last crack and ran up against. I mean, Giacoso is a pretty solid horse, but you can see he came out and popped at a mile right here, right out of the gate with a nice closing effort into just a moderate pace on a good conditioned Keeneland track. So this one is kind of a good one for the exotics, I think. I think he's going to be closing just like he did in the last outing. I just don't know if he's better than the other two closers we're going to talk about. So he could maybe pick up a piece like in your supers or your tries. So keep an eye on that one. This one I also waffled on a little bit was Charlie's to Blame, because I really like the front end possibilities for him and the Kitten's Joy. Now, obviously, he was in over his head in the Jeff Ruby and just ran out of gas in the stretch. But the Kitten's Joy was a pretty solid effort. Beat Test Score, who people think a lot of. Test Score came out and won his next out. So Charlie's to Blame. If he can get loose on the lead with Joel aboard, he could be dangerous. So World Beater is another one I thought of a little bit, but just didn't get to. Nice speed figures, could hit the board, but not for the pick 5. Probably the same for King of Ashes. Got gifted the lead on by default in a slow pace scenario and was still run down by our horse here, early adopter. And it's Chad Brown, it's Flavian Pratt. What can you say? Can come from way back. Proved he can come from way back, even on a slow pace. That's why you only see the 83 speed figures, because they ran a 49 half mile going a mile and 3/16, and he still came and got him. Now, I know we are backing up to a 1.125, but he can get that close a lot faster than that. You can see these 2-mile races. He was beginning to close out Zulu Kingdom, but obviously ran out of real estate. So this one just is too strong of a contender also not to use. So the two horses are 3 and 8, but if you wanted to include Charlie's to Blame, then I would be okay with that. But leg one for me is going to be the 3 and the 8. I know it sounds a little chalky, but we'll get there. So let's go to race number 8. And that is going to be the Shawnee. And we are going to go over to fillies and mares on the dirt for a 1.116. And you, Where's My Ring? Luis Saez aboard. Peter Miller under new management. Got scooped him from Val Brinkerhoff. I like that. I like Peter Miller. I'm not one above the other, but you can see Luis Saez aboard, and just too many good things to say about him. Probably didn't get the best trip in the Apple Blossom, but that was a long time ago. That was Torpedo Anna and Free Like a Girl. Ways and Means, or I mean, Where's My Ring did run third in that race. So I think that she's definitely one to contend with and a must use. This one was a little bit tough for me. I thought about using Corningstone because I think she's a solid 5-year-old contender. Usually runs pretty well in the minor leagues, is what I call them, the black stakes and the listed stakes. And it's kind of like AAA baseball compared to the majors. Once you start getting into like the grade twos and the grade threes, run in the Locust Grove right here, second place finish. So she likes Churchill Downs okay. A definite underneath use for exotics, but not going on the ticket. Royal Spa's another one I thought had a solid resume since fall of 2024. Tons of seconds and thirds, but did finally break through for that win in the mud at Laurel. But I think just a tick underneath does get a huge upgrade with Pratt aboard. So I think Pratt can get this one across or can get this one on the tote board, so to speak, 10-1. You can't beat that kind of value. Shaping together for a very nice exotics looking race. So Royal Spa's on that list. Who's your filly? People knock her, but she's run pretty decently since the end of December, first of the year. Like her last 4 starts have been good. The she won this minor stakes at Fairgrounds, and then went to the Hoosier Park for the grade 3, ran second to and then the Beholder was a grade 1 and a decent showing behind Tarifa and whatnot, running fourth. Then runs second in a lower level stakes race going a mile. So she is pretty solid. Probably doesn't get enough respect, but definitely not going to be on the ticket. Wow, about Hillary, would probably like to take them wire to wire here. She's been firing off bullets at Hawthorne after the collapse in the Apple Blossom, where she finished way back. So is working hard to come back, but I don't like the connections very much. Not going on the ticket for me. This one is a bit different. Alpine Princess, Brad Cox, Florent Giroux. I like that Giroux's back on the horse. He seems to know her best. You can see all the races Giroux won by 9 lengths. The RP Oaks, Remington Park. Uh, then underneath here, fourth in the Rachel Alexandria. And then you see the 2 wins previously out of the gate there at Churchill Downs. So Florent Giroux being back on this horse does boost her up quite a bit, but I don't know if she's good enough to tackle this group. Underneath use only. This one, I guess, is not going under the radar, which I kind of thought he would, but gets a 7-2 morning line. I guess Jose aboard is not going to do us any favors either. And then you got Brendan Walsh, ran his monster 99 in the Double Dog Dare. I guess it is a very standout race. So picks him up from the Brad Cox barn from January and immediately paying dividends. So nothing wrong with that. But I just thought that race was really telling because she beat not only Tarifa, but Candy. You look up here at Tarifa, I believe won one of these races I was talking about up here, probably the one of the preps in one of the preps in Fairgrounds Park. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I was trying to show you something and I couldn't find it. In just my heels. Jin Jin's a definite use. She just beat Tarifa and Candy, both strong horses. Third place finishes, non-graded stakes at Oakland Park. Joel, I think being aboard will help kickstart this horse a little bit, but I'm not seeing it. Free Like a Girl is another one. I actually cashed in on her in these back-to-back second place finishes behind Torpedo Anna at 20-1, 13-1. You can see those odds. She's not going to get those odds now. 4-1. Leperoux comes back aboard. So all that leading to a decent chance, but I'm not going on the ticket. Free Like a Girl rounds out the field. I think Where's My Ring under new management has a good chance. Sharp Works coming in. Jin, those are my 2 top choices. After that, it's kind of up in the air. I wouldn't argue Corningstone if you wanted to add in Alpine Princess, but I'm going to go leg 2, 1-7. So we'll go on to next race. And actually, this is a good place to stop right chia and do the contest. We are going to spin the wheel 3 times. 3 times? We're going to spin it 3 times. The winner is obviously the winner. Contact me via email. And also, I don't mention this often enough, but if you're not following me on X, I don't know what you're doing wrong. At Billy Ho Sports on X, formerly Twitter. But if you are following me and you win one of these contests, DM me there. That's just as easily as email. It's easier than email. So if you follow me on X, or if your name's drawn, go create an X account and go hit me up. Very easy to do. That way you don't have to worry about sending out your email address. But anyway, we're going to spin it 3 times. So if the first person doesn't hit me up, then it goes to the second or goes to the first runner up, then the second runner up. So let's go ahead, spin the wheel. All right. Congratulations to at Dan's the Man, 565. You win this week's Split the Pot contest. We're going to do the blame stakes, which we will cover here in just a few minutes. So stick around for the picks and the plays on the pick five and all that. And we'll go over a little exotics action in case you're curious about that. But you are the winner. Then your first runner up is going to be Freddie Perez. And then the second runner up is Derek Thurber. So all three of you can go ahead and contact me and let me know. Like Freddie, Derek, if you're just email me or hit me on X. Hey, I'm interested. If Dan's demand don't show up, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play, and then we will go from there. So let's get back to the show. We're going to jump into race number 9, Arlington. Let's do it. And race number 9 is the grade 3 Arlington, and it is for 4-year-olds and upward. We are going a mile and 16th on the Churchill Downs turf. And number 1 event detail, 20-1 morning line, William Walden, Joel Rosario. A couple of trips to Turfway Park seemed like good medicine for this one. Scored just missed by a neck and scored the win there, and then jumped back over to the turf and ran really, really well in this 100K in 3X, which is tough company. Just ran a second to one of the rivals in this race we'll talk about in a minute. But event detail, maybe one you could consider for exotics, but not going on the pick 5 ticket. Cameo Performance, similar boat. I like Ben Curtis, Brendan Walsh, both excellent with turf horses, but did give away in the grade 1 turf classic, but wasn't beaten all that badly. She actually, I know it wasn't. Oh, excuse me. I know it wasn't an 8th place. It was an 8th place finish, but not all that far back. They were spread out pretty good in that one. And then you had the Muniz ran 3rd behind Gigante, and I'd rather be blessed, but not going on the ticket. And speaking of Gigante, this one is Steve Asmussen, Jose Ortiz, and did show the way all the way into the stretch of that turf classic before giving away, fading late in the race. So I believe we're shortening up a little bit. Yeah, we're shortening up from 9 furlongs to 8.5. So I guess that does help the chances. High percentage jockey, Jose Ortiz. Not one I don't mind at all using underneath. It was a real heartbreaker in that Munoz losing to the 86-1. I'd rather be blessed because I had win place show money on Gigante. But anyway, I don't think I'll make the ticket. Just too many other ones like this next one, Hershey. I've heard other cappers mention the 4-year-old gelding, but the Bryan Station, pretty good race. Gunrunner ran down here in some good turf races. Kentucky Downs, Churchill. The grade 3 Commonwealth was Laginos, but what I liked was off the break they come back and hit this allowance race and run a huge 102 speed figure. So that just goes to show me that this horse is improved over the off season, and it is a 4-year-old. So horses can tend to make that leap. So Hershey, definite underneath use. If you wanted to take a shot, was supposed to run in Thursday night's Churchill in like an allowance or an optional claiming or something or other, but passed on that to enter this race. So they seem to must like their chances better, but I don't know about the win. So horse I do like, number 5 is Laginos, and that's Steve Asmussen, and of course the man, the myth, Flavian Pratt. Although he is only cracking out 15%, he's cooled off recently. 5 wins and 34 starts at the meet, but he's cracking good on the turf. You can see he wins almost 30% of his turf races, 60% in the money, and had this one all over Brilliant Birdie in the opening verse. And I guess maybe I just feel strongly about that particular race because we saw the winner of that race last year be Carl Spackler, who turned out to be like one of the best turf mile horses going around. And it's unfortunate that he was bought by overseas conglomerates and is going to be doing the rest of his racing over in the Euros. So unfortunately, for the Cinderella hero Carl Spackler is going to go over to the UK and do racing. So that just seems just asinine to me. But anyway, second in the Audubon last year, lost to Cugino, who's another dynamite horse. And I have affinity for this horse, so I'm putting him on top. Call Protection was the one that did defeat Event Detail. Like I said, I rate aboard Mike Maker, pretty solid connections, decent horse, beat some good rivals, but a puncher's chance to hit the board, but not going on the ticket. Same with Silent Heart. Run versus the best of late, third by a neck in the Canadian turf, but I'm just not going to get there with this one. Now, this one is probably the most interesting horse in the race. Mercante, and this is Brian Nippenberg, who I mentioned in a previous video, is an excellent up and coming trainer. Breakthrough win on the all weather at Turfway in the Kentucky Cup, and then just a really, really great second place effort. Almost won the Grade One Turf Classic. A very solid pace too. It wasn't like super fast and did this or and it took advantage of a super slow pace. He was there all the way, sired by Gunrunner, who I know we don't think Gunrunner, oh yeah, awesome turf horse, but still, Gunrunner's Gunrunner, and these guys can flat out get after it. So I'm not dismissing Mercante at all. I went back and looked at his 8.5 furlong race on November 2nd at Churchill Downs, and it's this one down here, right before Nippenberg got him from Mott, or after, actually right after. This was the first race after Nippenberg got him. My apologies, but he ran a really, really good third place here, and I believe it would have won the race had he had a better jockey aboard. I mean, I like Moncada, but shout out Ramos. I thought, 10% winner, Joe Ramos. But Joe Ramos had a terrible motorcycle accident spring of 2024, which is just barely over a year ago. And it took him a while to get back up, but he was back by this year in February, banging them out. Not only was he the leading jock at Turfway Park for the winter meet, but he is the current leading rider at Horseshoe Indy. So the dude can ride. I mean, maybe he's not like we talk about AAA baseball. He's probably the leading hitter in AAA baseball. He's batting 350, but you send him up to the major leagues and maybe he's more like about a 260 hitter. So just think of it in those kind of terms if you want to. But a horse I'm not throwing out, because if he's legit, you're going to want him in there, because I think he'll tick up the board. I think with Brilliant Birdie, Laginos, and other horses in there, you're going to get a price. So speaking of Brilliant Birdie, Sherry DeVoe, just really good trainer on the turf. Brian Hernandez, hopefully he's coming back around. He's in a bit of a slump. I haven't looked at his record recently, but he's still a good rider. He can still ride all the things. He rode this horse to the opening verse victory, and you saw how gaga I was about last year's Carl Spackler. I don't think Brilliant Birdie's Carl Spackler or anything like that, but she won the Bryan Station. She won the Gun Runner. She's won. She wins American Derby, optional claiming, maiden breakers, second place there in the Grade 2 Secretariat behind Trickery, monster horse there. Brilliant Birdie probably on paper wins this race, so you got to kind of include her too. So I think the Hershey's in there. I'm going to spread in this one just in case something else hits, but I do really like Laginos to win the race, but I'm going to go 4, 5, 8, 9. So I will include Hershey since they are targeting this race specifically, and it's going to boost the pick 5 if you've got the room in there. And I'll show you how we'll make the room in just a second. So let's go. Race number 10 is the Blame. Let's go down to the Blame. This is going to be our split the pot bet, Dan the man. So follow me along here and see who you like. And I will give you the first mind-bending news of the thing. The horse that I like the most, wanted, so to speak, is going to opt out of this race, as far as I know. Now, if he's in, he's on the ticket. No doubt that. But if he decides to go ahead and go Sunday, like Cox has indicated, he's going to race on Sunday, not this race. So if he's out, that brings in a whole other kind of different ball game, because you don't have that front running horse that can get loose on the lead. And if you've got that kind of loose lead, you're going to be really difficult to catch. So that defaults to Banishing, who is your pace horse. But we'll go back up to the top and start at the top. Katona, I don't think has been right since the Dubai World Cup. I'm going to toss Katona. This one I've come around on Alexander Helios, and I really was kind of against him down here, and he shocked me because I really thought First Mission was going to win the Razorback, but then he comes up and he pops, and then he kind of comes down to earth a little bit, finishing fifth. Just wasn't quite as good as sharp at the Oaklawn as he was in the Razorback, but there's no joke when you have horses like Banishing, First Mission, Skippy Longstocking, all those kind of good horses that you're running against. So we know those three finished in front of them. So I'm going to include Alexander Helios. I like that Irad's aboard, a little bit more of an aggressive ride. He kind of got off a little slow and got behind the 8 ball in the Oaklawn. As you can see, not his typical running style coming from off the pace. So if he's closer to the pace, he's got an excellent chance to hit. Antiquarian is a horse that I do like, but I still think is a bit rambunctious in the gate. Broke through the gate down here, bumped at the start here, just drifted, bumped, a lot of different things. Even in this win, I watched the race. He was still banging his head around a little bit in the gate before they cut him loose. So I just sometimes you never know with horses like that. But it's Todd Pletcher, it's Johnny V. If you want to put him on the ticket, I'm not going to fight you. Then you have Mystic Dan. And then you have Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez. We all know about the great Derby run here, but then he fell off, probably finally hit the wall here in the Belmont, and then took some time off. I thought that was a really bad spot, bringing him back at 7 furlongs, but they probably just wanted to. This race, I think, is an absolute toss. I think they just threw him out on the track and said, run around 7 furlongs, and we'll just see what we got. So they must have liked it enough that they put him in training and then entered him in to way over his head. I think the Pegasus World Cup Invitational with White Abario locked Skippy and the lot was just a little bit more that he could handle. I think I like the way they regrouped and then brought him back in May, back at Oaklawn where it all began for him, where he's got good vibes, put him at a nice distance, a nice 200K cash and tickets, writing checks, taking names, whatever you want to call it, and then almost ran down Saudi Crown. Saudi Crown, if you don't know, very, very good front running horse. Once he gets out loose on the lead, if it's an even pace or a -1 like that, hard to catch him. So I think getting back to Brian Hernandez, you can see Arrieta rode that race, but I think Brian Hernandez back up. I like the spot. I don't pick him to win, and I'm not putting him on the ticket, but I think he can be in the mix. I think he can hit the board. But the problem is 4-1 morning line. Everybody knows Derby winners, and they're excited to see him come back in the following year in May. So he's going to take more money than he needs to. So it might be a complete toss. I don't really know for sure, but hard no on Best Actor. Hall of Fame, another horse I'm kind of coming around on. Gunrunner Colt. Back-to-back triple-digit Brisnet versus the Grade 2 companies. Probably should have won the New Orleans Classic. Just got hit by a Touch Upon a Star, who was kind of a local legend, and won that race. Then decided to take on the Ali Sheba with Most Wanted and Fierceness, and was tracking those two for most of the way. Now, he got through and kept on, but he was blown out pretty good by Most Wanted. Well, if Most Wanted's gone, he moves up the ladder immensely. Just out of the coming out of that race. Jose back aboard. I really like the way this one's going to go. Excuse me. So Hall of Fame's going on the ticket. Most Wanted, I think we're going to pass because he's out. Then you have Banishing, and this is going to be your decision you need to make. It seems to be rinse and repeat for this horse. He runs hundreds, but he is just ever so slightly dipping. I mean, his peak was the Razorback, where he almost won the race. Then he runs a 102 in a hotly contested pace, winning the race, which I think these two numbers should have been backwards. I think the 104 is this number and the 102. So he would have built up to this. So it would have been 102, 104. Then he drops to 100 in the Oaklawn Mile, finishing a strong second to First Mission, almost had that race won. And then I suspected he was going to bounce. But he did drop back to 7 furlongs, which I think helped him. And he also did break slow and had to come from way off the pace in the slop. I don't think that's his running style. You see he's listed at 8. He wants to lead. 8 is the top lead getter. So I don't know if this is a fluke or if this is just that they just saw something in this race. But if he comes from off the pace, he could have a chance to hit the board again. But I don't think I'm going to get him on the ticket. Post Time is the 9 horse. It was really between Most Wanted and Post Time. Now that Most Wanted's out, Post Time is my single in this pick 5 ticket. I thought he just runs nothing but hundreds and a couple of 95s whenever the pace is a little slower. You can see the -15. He gets a 95. He gets a really strong pace in the Met Mile, runs a strong second. I think he got a little bit less of a speed figure because he was so far back in a short field going a mile and then ended up getting second. He was kind of a distant second to National Treasure, but he got me up for the exacta in that one. Then he ran a pretty solid third, got a 104 for the Whitney. Then he wins by 11 lengths in the Poisina, or Polynesian. I'm sorry. I just glanced up at that. I got that way wrong. But the second place in the dirt mile behind Full Serrano, then the Cigar Mile. He's third behind Mullican and Locked going a mile. I mean, Mullican and Locked, both excellent horses in their own right. And then he comes off the break and just absolutely smashes them. 107 speed figure, 13 lengths, wide open, powered away. Weak field, but nice landing spot for Brittany Russell. That's pretty smart. Giving husband Sheldon Russell some stats to pad. But this one ultimately is my single. So with most wanted out, I mean, you could play Alexander Helios. All of those banishing seems unbounceable. But I think going from 7 to 9, he was all out at 7. I think he's finally going to hit the wall. So I'm singling the 9. But if you single somewhere else or you got a cheaper ticket your own way, I would include the 2 and the 6. So just keep that in mind, and we'll round things out with race number 11 and get on out of here. So this one's a mile and an eighth on the turf. It is the Regret, which we have none here at Billy Ho Sports. As long as you've subscribed to the channel and you're smashing that like button, I don't regret anything. So, Regret Stakes, Jalila, gonna pass on that one. Here for a good time, not making the ticket, but trying for 3 straight. By Justify, I mean, if they pulled it off the turf, might move up. Got nice mud stats. But I don't see any rain. We got the rain last night and through this morning. So going to be a day and a half to dry out. We may get some rain today. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think we're going to be totally dry for tomorrow. So we should have a nice firm turf. Altadora, another pass. I pretty decent. A couple of decent races. Did come up strong but I think was took advantage of just following an extremely slow pace and then was able to power it home and got up in there for 4th. Pass on that. This one I struggle with a little bit. Fixing to be closed well under a slow-ish pace. I think she might be just better than I think she is on paper, just because you look at these results like the Ginger Brew. But I mean, she went up against Good Cheer, Nitrogen, Vixen, some really strong ones, and then got the win here. I would use Underneath and Exotics, but I don't think makes the ticket. Classic Q, strong effort here. Jose Ortiz, Mark Cassie, April 30th run at Churchill Downs, won by 4.5, 4 3/4. 3 wins and 8 starts for this combo over the last couple of weeks. So pretty hot combo here. I believe that's 2 wins and 5 starts in the last 14 days. Must have changed that since the last time I pulled it. But anyway, I just think 19% on turf, 47% in the money. And you can see all the good things Mark Cassie does. Include on the ticket. This one I like to actually win the race. This is my favorite horse in the race. Totally Justified. Maybe I'm just using, I got my own blinkers on, but this race right here was hotly contested. He followed a really sharp pace and did have the inside rail, then absolutely got shut off, had to pull up and give way late to finish 5th. If he gets through that rail, he might win the race or be a close second to Nitrogen. So that's just what I picture in my head. That was the first off the layoff. I feel like a big move up's coming. I think the next race puts him in the low 90s, which is better than any of these horses. I think a 94, a 93 will get it done. You can see everybody in this field. None of them very few have any 90s. And now I don't put as much stock in turf speed figures, but I put some in it. So 92, like I said, Totally Justified has a 92 on the in that juvenile there, but Lush Lips is the next one up, and he has a 92. Also, a couple of second place finishes to Nitrogen, and then a couple of wins prior to that. Definitely going on the ticket, so we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on that one. And then Fion, Brad Cox, Flojo came from way back to the 3rd in the Appalachian. Stone Dead Closer, exotic use for me, did hit 90, making this 3rd run in the Appalachian behind Vixen and Nitrogen. I'm scared of the horse, but I can't use everybody, so I'm going to leave him out. And then Micaiah is another one I think is a nice long shot play. The this is what I liked about it. If you watch the previous video, you can see him running at 6.5 and then jumps to a mile and jumps right into the deep end. And the Jessamine grade 2 on the turf was fourth behind Totally Justified and other horses, then goes back to the rags to riches. So still visions of Kentucky Oaks dancing in their heads, but finishes fifth by a distance behind Good Cheer and others. So they decided to take a break, bring her back in May, and put her on the turf going 5.5 furlongs, even though she is definitely Liam's map, got a lot more distance pedigree in her, more in tune with a mile to a mile and an eighth. So she goes from dead last all the way to third in just a 5.5 furlong race. I thought that was very interesting. Big chance to improve for Micaiah. And then Golden Sunshine, I'm not going to get there on. So I am going to spread here for the leg 5, because if we hit anything going into it, we definitely want to do that. So we're going, we'll stop it there. We're going 5, 6, 7, and 9, which, if you want me to recap that, is Classic Q, Totally Justified, Lush Lips. Then we skip over to the 9, Micaiah. I think Micaiah could be a huge hit. I would definitely use underneath if that's, if you're looking to bet that way too. But basically, the pick 5 ticket is going to be, if you want to know how to add up pick 5 tickets, you just do simple multiplication tables. So like we have 2 in leg 1, 2 in leg 2, 4 in leg 3, a single in leg 4, and 4 horses in leg 5. So you go 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 4 is 16. Then you go 16 times 1, obviously still 16. Then you go 16 times 4, 64, and then you take half of that, which is $32 for your pick, 50-cent pick 5. So that's where we land on it. Leg 1 is going to be the 2 horse 3-8. Leg 2 is 1-7. Leg 3 we spread a little more, 4, 5, 8, 9. Then leg 4 is our single horse number 9. That is going to be post time. Then leg 5 is 5, 6, 7, and 9 to spread deep. It's for that $32 ticket. So I appreciate everybody, subscribers. Remember to set your notifications so you don't miss it. I've got a ton. I've already written up shows for Friday's card at Saratoga, Saturday's card at Saratoga. I got a Belmont preview coming your way today, so be on the lookout for that as well. And Bolo, all that content by setting that notification bell. Much appreciate everybody staying engaged and in tune, and let's get after it. Best of luck this weekend, and we'll see you soon.